Hello and welcome to another 5-minute tech tip. This is Dave Casuto with SF Tech Training. And in this video, I'm going to show you one of my favorite and I think one of the most essential Photoshop tools to know about, and that is working with the adjustment layer called levels. I think pretty much almost every photo that you ever open should go through the levels adjustment layer. And while we're learning about adjustment layers, we're also going to learn a little bit about masking. Okay, there's so much you can do with masking, which really essentially just gives you control over what types of erasing you want to do, and in this case, in terms of the adjustment layer, what you want to have the adjustment layer applied to. So this is a pretty nice photo, but guess what? I can actually bring out so much more dimension and sharpness and even color out of this just using something called levels. So let me show you where that is. So I have this image here, and then way at the bottom of my layers panel, I have this little black and white cookie, my adjustment layers, and I'm going to bring up this levels. And you will see that I have these 1, 2, 3 little triangles there. Those are the levels that we're talking about. What levels are we talking about? We're talking about the shadow level, the midtone level, and the highlight level. So what do we want to affect in terms of any kind of lighting that is either not there, you want to bring more out of it, or whatever it is? But what's nice about this is it's going to only isolate those levels of lighting. So if I mess with the shadows, it doesn't really do anything to the highlights. Okay, so if you think about any kind of image, you've got highlights and you've got shadows, right? The darkest parts of it versus the lightest parts of it. All right, so let me just show you how we can make this really kind of like, yeah, ordinary photo a little more extraordinary. So let me just start playing around with it. Sometimes we don't even know what we can do. So I'm just going to go ahead and click and drag on this. We can see how I can make that a little bit brighter, a little more dimension, going this way or going that way. Give it a little more texture. And let me try going this way, and then maybe I'll experiment going that way. And then maybe I'll go this way, and you can see a big difference. Now, if you can't see, let me just show you what happens here in my layers panel. All right, so you will see that there is now a new layer that appears above this, and this is my adjustment layer and or mask. So if you click on this eyeball, you'll be able to see before, after. Makes such a big difference. Okay, now there might don't want to have that. I'm going to cover that in just a second. But let me just go ahead and do it with another one. Let's go over here to these lions, do the same thing, so you can see the difference with something else. I'm going to go over here to levels. I'm just going to click and drag, and notice how it just brightens up the room a little bit, but not everything. Only certain parts. So notice the shadows are getting affected here, and look at all that texture that appears now. All right, now I'm going to play with the midtones, make those a little bit brighter. Actually, you know what? Let's make our midtones a little darker. But notice it doesn't affect the bright spots here. It doesn't affect the darkest spots here. So we have total control over that. Now, as far as control goes, and this is really critical part, what I'm about to show you will help you with all of your Photoshop career moving forward. There might be certain parts that I really don't want to affect, right? Meaning that I don't want this levels adjustment layer to be on that part of the document, on this part of the page. So notice how this is white, okay? This part here is a mask. What I want to do is I want to paint black on top of that. I know it seems a little weird, and this is its own little element. I'm going to click on this, and I'm literally going to go to my brush tool, and then make sure that black is in the foreground, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm just using my right bracket key, and certain parts I might want to be back to where it was. So I'm just going to go ahead and just say click around that, and then notice how that essentially just brings back what was originally there. And in this case, this might draw our eye's attention a little bit more into the lions. I don't really want the grassland to be so dark. I really want our lions to really stand out, so I have that kind of control. And if I accidentally do that, notice all I need to do is switch it back to white, and then there she is. She comes right back. Okay, and if you look at what I've done here, black and white. Black and white. Very simple. Come over to here, to my peacock. There might be certain parts that you don't want to be showing there. And then notice very easily, I click on this, and then I'm going to choose black, and then do the same thing here. Okay, so that is working with adjustment layer. That's working with, and that is working with the adjustment layer. That's working with masking. All right, and really, again, any kind of photo you really want to sharpen almost automatically, this is your go-to. All right, so hopefully this was helpful for you. Any other thoughts or requests you have for me, Photoshop, Excel, Word, or otherwise, just post it to my YouTube channel. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can also find me at my website, sftechtraining.com. All right, see you in the next video.